Yo, it's Trivelli, I'm back, and today I'm going to be telling you guys why the Miami Dolphins can make history this year and be the first team to ever start a season 1-7 and then make the playoffs. So if you can, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get this channel out to as many people as possible. Also, follow me on Instagram and Twitter so you get my daily notifications for when I'm dropping videos, which is going to be Monday through Friday, because I'm never slacking. Now, let's jump into the action.
I'm living life like this. Maybe give a little glimpse, maybe give a little glimpse.
Well, after a 4-game win streak, the Dolphins have basically been given a 4% chance to make the playoffs. So you're saying there's a chance? Well, yes. At one point, the 1-7 Dolphins had under a 1% chance, and that has been 4x'd in less than a month. So for now, it's still a grave chance, but every win will probably double the percentage, so the Fins really need to keep this winning streak alive. Now, first things first, we have to analyze the Dolphins over the last 4 weeks really quickly, and they have shown consistency in the defense, the short passing game, limiting the turnovers and penalties at bad times, and the only thing that I can really say is that Tua has had some fumbling problems, and he needs to realize if the read isn't there in 3 seconds, it's time to move on, throw it away, or take the sack and wrap up that ball. He had the slot receiver in the first quarter across the middle, I forgot who it was, but if he just threw the designed 4-yard read, it would have been a 5 to 6 yard minimum gain instead of a fumble sack strip, and so this is my only quorum with Tua is his ability to read, react, and make positive plays against the blitz is pretty bad, especially versus good man cover corners who can keep separation at a minimum within the first 3 seconds of the pass rush. A la if they just guard Jalen Waddle at the line of scrimmage with a safety over the top and Tua doesn't have that first read, he's probably either going to take a sack, throw it to the running back for a minimum gain or a loss, and or throw it away. Now, once he dials it in against pressure and he has all the tools to be a Drew Brees-esque QB without the big play possibilities because the OCs really don't call plays like that, I think the Dolphins will be able to be a very successful team moving forward. Now let's go through the schedule. Because the Fins are hot right now, and in my opinion, it's safe to say that the Giants, Jets at home should both be wins if they just play fundamentally sound. I will, however, give the Fins their loss to the Saints on the road because, you know, they're going to have Kamara back. They're a tough place to play at home. Sean Payton's a great coach, and I think Hill gives them a better chance to win because of his running unpredictability. Even with the turnovers, I think he's going to, limit those if he is playing. And let's just keep it real. Fin fans know the OT loss versus Tebow in 2011, but I have the Fins winning out, beating the Pats at home and the Henryless Titans on the road, and that would put them at 9-8 and 4-2 in the division. Now, the only real loss I think they're going to have here is at New Orleans. I think the Dolphins always play well against New England at home in the final game of the season. You can just look back at history repeating itself over and over again. So if the Dolphins were to pull off that win at New Orleans, that would make them 10-7, but I'm going to be realistic and say they'll slip up somewhere. They'll go 9-8 and 4-2 in the division, which might be good enough to pull off history and be the first team to ever start 1-7 and then make the playoffs. But some of the other teams are going to have to lose for that to happen, so let's dive into all the scenarios. Now, let's look at the AFC East, okay? We've got the Jets. Moving on, because they're not doing anything. Patriots, I think they're going to go 10-7 this year, splitting games with Buffalo, losing to the Colts in a close loss on the road, beating the Jags, and then losing a close loss to the Fins to finish the season. Going 10-7, definitely going to make the playoffs, so don't freak out. I do have the Bills, however, jumping the Patriots and winning this division. Like I said, splitting games with New England and only losing at the Bucs gives them a final of 11-6 and winning the division. Going on to the AFC North, the Ravens. Now, this might sound ridiculous, but I have the Ravens, only winning 1 or 2 games to finish out this season. And this is the toughest schedule to review because I have a lot of respect for Baltimore, but with the injuries and the close wins versus bad teams and even a loss versus the Dolphins, I have to say the Ravens will probably lose at Pittsburgh, at Cincinnati, at home versus the Packers, and at Cleveland, with wins at home versus the Steelers and the Rams at home to finish 10-7, locking up a wild card spot. The Bengals, I actually have them winning the division because of an easier remaining schedule. I do think they'll lose to the Chiefs and Chargers, but I think they get wins over everybody else, giving them an 11-6 record. Now, the Browns, I have the Browns beating the Ravens in an upset this week because they just haven't been playing so good, and the Browns have been banged up, but I think the Browns and the Ravens are both banged up, so this is going to be a really close game. I'm giving the nod to the Browns at home and then beating the Raiders at home, but I have them losing their last 3 games versus the Bengals, Steelers, and Packers with the latter on the road. Final record 8-9. Cleveland's not making the playoffs. Steelers, You know, this has been a season that's just been up and down, and it might determine Big Ben's future going down the stretch. I have them beating the Ravens at home this week, but ultimately losing 4 of their next 5, with their only win left being at home versus Cleveland. I can see the Steelers going anywhere between 7-9-1 and 8-8-1, and that tie really kills them versus the Dolphins in the playoff picture. Moving on to the AFC West, we've got the Raiders going 8-9, finishing 2-4 in their last 6 games. Just this team has blown up, from the Ruggs incident to the Gruden incident to everything else that they've had to deal with. I think they will end up beating Washington, then losing at Cleveland, losing in Kansas City, beating the Broncos at home. I think they lose in Indianapolis, and I think they lose versus the Chargers at home. Now, the Broncos, they're going to have a very tough end to the season, and that's the definition of an inconsistent team, which is what they've been. They go on runs for wins and they go on runs for losses, but I don't think that this team is good. I think the defense carries them. Now, I have them winning versus the Lions, but ultimately they have a gauntlet of winning teams in the equation. They've got 2 games versus Kansas City left. They've got 1 game at the Chargers. They've got a game versus the Bengals. They've got a game at Oakland, and I think all of these are going to be losses. And honestly, if you look at this, it does make sense. They'll probably finish anywhere between 7-10 and 8-9. I think the Chiefs are going to run through the rest of their schedule. They're getting hot at the right time. Odds are they're probably going to win out, and they'll definitely win the division. Now, the team that gives the Finns the most problems will definitely be the Chargers. And it's really funny to think about. I'm a Dolphin fan, and I've wanted Herbert, and the ironic thing is he's probably going to knock my team out of the playoffs, so I don't even want to talk about that. But their schedule is not easy, and they have proven to be inconsistent on the defensive end, with losses at Denver, at home versus Minnesota, and a lopsided loss at Baltimore. I think Dolphin fans are basically praying that either the Texans or the Giants can play spoiler for them, because I have the Chargers winning at Cincy, at Oakland, and the Broncos at home. We would need, as Dolphin fans, for them to lose 4 of 6 to definitely make it. But if they do lose to Cincy, Chiefs, and let's say either the Giants or Broncos, the Dolphins will have a chance. So what it comes down to is who the Chargers lose to. If they lose to the Chiefs and Broncos, they can lose literally to anybody else on the schedule, and the Dolphins will have the better AFC and divisional record, granting them the tiebreaker. But honestly, I do not know how the tiebreaker will play out this far from the end of the regular season. So, we're moving on to the South here. The Jags and Texans are both out. The Titans are also free-falling without Derrick Henry, which proves how much of an MVP candidate he really is. And I have a feeling that they're only going to get 1 of their last 5 coming versus the Steelers or the Jags. Take your pick. I think they can win one of those. But without Henry, I definitely do see them losing to the Niners and the Finns, and then at the Texans is a toss-up. So as long as Miami beat Titans in Miami, they should hold the tiebreaker if they both go 9-8. However, if the Titans do win 2 games, then that's going to throw this whole entire scenario that I presented off, and the Dolphins most likely won't make it. Now, the Colts will most likely win the division, so the final playoff picture could look something like this. The North winner being the Bengals, the South winner being the Colts, the East winner being the Bills, the West winner being the Chiefs. I think the wild cards will look something like this. The Ravens 10-7, Patriots 10-7, and then the Dolphins, Chargers, and Titans are basically fighting for that last 7th spot, so it's going to be tough to see how things shake out. The Dolphins definitely need a lot of help, but this thing isn't over, and so if Miami can win out and get the crucial wins versus New England and New Orleans, I think they definitely will make it at 10-7 with a tiebreaker over New England should they end up at 10-7 as well. But if they go 4-1 in these last 5, it's going to be extremely tricky, and that percentage is never going to go over 50%. So I want your guys' opinion. Do you think the Dolphins are going to stay hot and win out, or are they going to slip up somewhere and basically shoot themselves in the foot? And also check out these new videos that just got posted this week. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
I'm living life like this. Maybe give a little glimpse, maybe give a little glimpse.